April 8, 1943. 27,000 feet above Cannes, France. The first light of dawn bleeds across the horizon, soft, muted, almost unreal. The cold wind lashes against the thin skin of the aircraft, a high-pitched whistle vibrating through the frame as the pilot breathes in slow, deliberate rhythm. His oxygen mask frosts at the edges. His gloves, stiff with cold, grip the controls with the calm precision of a man who knows any mistake at this altitude is fatal. Flight Lieutenant Peter Falcon Lockhart eases his unarmed Spitfire PRU Mk-11 into a shallow bank. The sky around him glows with a strange pastel haze, neither blue nor gold. Instead, it shimmers with a color he never imagined would save his life: pink. Far below him stretch the patchwork fields of occupied France, quiet for now, but laced with danger. In the distance, the thin towers of German radar stations stand like metallic thorns against the earth. Somewhere to the east, Luftwaffe fighters are already taking off for their morning patrols. But up here, Lockhart is a ghost. His aircraft, coated in a pale powdery shade known only to a handful of RAF specialists as PRU Pink, seems to dissolve into the early morning sky. Against the dawn light, it almost disappears. Even Lockhart, glancing at the wingtips through the canopy, can barely distinguish the color from the horizon. He checks his instruments. Altitude steady, engine temperature holding, cameras warmed and ready. Two massive F-52 vertical cameras and a pair of oblique F-24s sit behind him in the fuselage, their shutters prepared to snap thousands of images with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. These photos will expose German troop movements, U-boat bunkers, and concrete fortifications the Allies desperately need to locate before launching their invasion of Europe. But first, he has to survive 40 minutes over enemy territory. As Lockhart pushes the throttle forward, the Merlin engine growls, then steadies into a clean, powerful hum. He descends just enough to avoid a cloud bank forming beneath him, the horizon glowing a deeper rose as the sun prepares to break. This is the moment, the most dangerous moment. Dawn air patrols, German flak crews drinking their first cups of bitter coffee, fighter pilots settling into their cockpits, spotters scanning the skies, but not one of them looks for a pink aircraft. Below, a Luftwaffe observation post tracks movement in the sky. The officer lifts his binoculars, sweeps the heavens, then lowers them again with a frustrated grunt. He sees nothing unusual, just the faint blur of sunrise, the normal morning haze. Lockhart is right there, directly above them, invisible. He calibrates the cameras, glances at the timer, and presses the release. The shutters fire, a rapid clicking heartbeat inside the fuselage. Strip by strip, the German-held coast is carved into photographic negatives that will, within hours, appear on the desks of Allied planners in southern England. Each frame captured through the lens could save hundreds of lives. Each roll of film is worth more than the aircraft itself. Lockhart banks again. Smooth, careful. He can't afford a single harsh turn. An unarmed reconnaissance pilot has only two defenses: speed and the hope that no one sees him. His radio crackles with faint static, RAF control sending a coded check signal. Lockhart taps twice on the transmitter button, keeping radio silence otherwise. The Germans listen to every frequency. Even a stray syllable could give him away. The sun crawls higher, and the pink light begins to shift, the sky turning brighter. In 20 minutes, this fragile camouflage will lose its effect. He must reach open water before then. His eyes flick to the northeast. Movement. A pair of dark specks. Growing. Closing. Lockhart's pulse jumps, but he forces himself to remain steady. He maintains his altitude, his heading, his speed. No sudden moves. The dots sharpen into the silhouettes of Messerschmitt Bf-110s climbing toward him, but angled slightly off his path. Searching, hunting, scanning the skies for a glint of metal or a dark shape against the clouds. But Lockhart is wrapped in the last protective embrace of dawn. One of the Messerschmitts tilts its wings. For a moment, the fighter seems to look straight at him, its canopy glinting. Lockhart doesn't breathe. Then, the German fighter banks away, losing interest. The pink Spitfire remains unseen. Only when the Messerschmitts vanish into distant clouds does Lockhart exhale, a shaky breath fogging the mask. He pushes the throttle, preparing to make the long escape over the channel. But this mission, this strange pink camouflage, this moment of near detection, all of it began months earlier in a quiet laboratory in England when camouflage experts stumbled on an idea so bizarre that even RAF commanders laughed at it, until they saw it work. Months earlier, far from the gunfire and frostbitten skies of occupied Europe, another scene unfolds. Quiet, meticulous, and strangely peaceful. January 1943, Farnborough, England, RAF Camouflage Development Unit. A low winter fog drapes the airfield as scientists, engineers, and camouflage specialists gather around a peculiar object resting in a hangar bay. A Spitfire fuselage panel painted in an unfamiliar, almost whimsical shade of pastel pink. The man at the center of this odd meeting is Dr. Howard Thorne, a reserved but brilliant optical scientist who has spent years studying how light behaves at high altitudes. Known among pilots as the Sky Watcher, Thorne specializes in the subtle interplay between sunlight, clouds, and color. He gestures to the painted panel as a group of skeptical RAF officers exchange uncertain glances. "Gentlemen," he says, tapping the metal surface, "this color disappears at dawn." A collective silence. A few stifled laughs. Wing Commander Alex Moresby, a seasoned veteran who has flown through German flak more times than he'd like to admit, folds his arms. "With respect, Doctor, pink doesn't disappear. It stands out like a flare." Thorne nods coldly. He expected resistance. "I understand your hesitation, but the upper atmosphere at sunrise isn't blue, at least not entirely. Dust crystals and the angle of light create a diffuse pink glow. Most of you never notice it because you're focused on the ground. But at 25 to 30,000 feet, he lifts a photograph from his folder. The world looks like this." The officers lean in. The image shows a horizon washed in soft, almost ethereal rose light. Clouds glowing with pale pink edges, the sky a gradient of warm haze. It looks unreal, and yet, undeniably, it matches the paint on the fuselage panel. Thorne continues, "Our reconnaissance aircraft fly at these altitudes during dawn patrols. If we align the aircraft's color with the atmospheric conditions, we can render it nearly invisible, not to radar, but to the human eye." Another officer scoffs. "Nearly invisible? A Spitfire?" Thorne adjusts his glasses. "Yes, provided you paint it correctly, provided the pilot flies at the right angle, and provided the mission occurs during the brief window when the sky shifts." He pauses. "But that window is when the Germans least expect us." The room quiets. Moresby steps forward, capping the pink panel with the back of his knuckles. "How would this perform against a trained Luftwaffe spotter?" "Test it," Thorne replies simply. And so they do. 2 days later, early morning, RAF Odioman Airfield. Steam rises from the cold tarmac as a Spitfire PR Mark 11, freshly coated in PR Pink, taxis into position. Its pilot, Squadron Leader Amelia Greaves, one of the RAF's most skilled reconnaissance flyers, looks over the unusual paint scheme with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. The ground crew snickers. "Looks like someone dropped it in strawberry milk," one mutters. She only smiles, tightening her gloves. "Let's see if strawberry milk can fool the Germans, shall we?" She takes off, climbing into the pale morning sky. On the ground, a team of spotters positions themselves at multiple observation posts, binoculars ready. Thorne watches silently from the airfield as the pink Spitfire ascends higher, then wings level into the rising sun. At 24,000 feet, the aircraft banks into the dawn light. And then, it melts. Not literally, but visually. One spotter lowers his binoculars in confusion. Where the devil did she go? Another sweeps the horizon desperately. "I had her, just for a moment, but she's gone." Thorne smiles faintly. Moresby stares in disbelief. "You mad scientist, you actually did it." By the time Greaves returns, the airfield is buzzing. Her landing gear touches down, and she taxis in wearing a wide grin beneath her flight mask. "Well," she says, lowering the canopy. Moresby shakes his head. "They couldn't see you." Greaves laughs. "Then it's perfect." Within a month, a small number of reconnaissance Spitfires receive the pink coating. The program becomes classified under the innocuous label Special Camouflage Trials, PRU series. Only a handful of pilots are selected, only a handful of missions authorized. But the results, unmistakable. Pink aircraft vanish in dawn light. German spotters report missing targets. Enemy fighters lose visual contact, and the Allies gather priceless intelligence. A bizarre idea, dismissed as foolish at first, quickly transforms into one of the RAF's most unexpected advantages. And soon, this strange advantage will be put to the ultimate test, over the most heavily fortified coastline in Europe. May 1943, 26,000 feet above the French coastline. The sun is just beginning to crest over the English Channel, casting a warm, diluted glow across the clouds. Beneath that thin golden edge lies the most dangerous stretch of fortified land in all of Europe, Hitler's Atlantic Wall. Concrete bunkers, anti-aircraft guns, hidden artillery, infantry divisions dug into the cliffs like iron teeth. Every inch of this coastline has been engineered to repel an invasion that hasn't happened yet, but the Germans know it's coming. What they don't know is that a bright pink RAF aircraft is gliding directly above their heads, camera shutters blinking like the cold eyes of a hawk. At the controls of this strange machine sits Squadron Leader Amelia Greaves, returning to the skies weeks after her test flight at Odiham. The pink paint still feels ridiculous every time she sees it, but out here, in the thin rose-tinted atmosphere of dawn, it works almost too well. She checks her altitude, steady at 26,200 feet. Engine temperature, stable. Cameras, armed. Film, loaded. Her target today? The newly reinforced fortifications along the Normandy coast. As Greaves approaches the shoreline, the vast network of German defenses emerges through the morning haze. Rows of concrete bunkers stretch across the beaches, anti-tank obstacles dotted like steel fangs, pillboxes with slitted windows waiting patiently for an unseen enemy. She angles her Spitfire slightly, aligning the vertical cameras. The shutters begin to fire. Thump, 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 thump. At this altitude, the sound is soft, a mechanical heartbeat behind her. But down below, German soldiers march along the sands. A patrol officer walks the perimeter with binoculars slung over his shoulder. His job is to scan the skies for any sign of Allied reconnaissance. He pauses, looks up, and frowns. The morning sky is glowing with a light he isn't used to, pinks and muted golds spilling across the horizon. He shields his eyes from the glare, sweeping back and forth. But he sees nothing, not even the faint silhouette passing above him. Greaves keeps flying, her breathing slow and steady behind the oxygen mask. She angles the plane again, capturing another strip of coastline, then another, then a fourth, each one overlapping perfectly with the precision training that reconnaissance pilots undergo for weeks. Every photograph is a blueprint, every shutter click a step toward the future invasion. But the Germans are not asleep. A loud chirping alert erupts inside a command bunker 2 miles inland. Luftwaffe radar operators scramble, checking their scopes. A blip, small, faint, appears at the edge of their screen, almost lost in the atmospheric clutter. Altitude, 26,000 feet. Speed, moderate. Heading, toward the channel. The radar officer hesitates. This could be a weather anomaly. The signal is thin, weak, intermittent. But protocol demands action. 2 Messerschmitt Bf 109 G4 interceptors roar down a runway within minutes, engines screaming as they climb into the morning sky. Their pilots strain to locate any sign of a reconnaissance aircraft. Greaves hears their presence before she sees them, faint dots on her horizon indicator. She tilts slightly, careful not to break the camouflage effect. Fast, sudden maneuvers could reveal her silhouette against the shifting light. She holds her breath as the 2 German fighters sweep the sky below her. Their engines buzz faintly through her cockpit glass, growing louder, then fading. One climbs higher, too close. Greaves steadies her aircraft, holding a straight line. Her fingers tightened around the control column. The Bf 109 passes just 2,000 feet beneath her, close enough that she can see the frost along its canopy, the pilot peering intently through the glass. He's searching for her, chasing a ghost, but she remains hidden in the rose-colored horizon. After a tense 30 seconds, the German fighter tilts its wings in frustration and turns away. Greaves whispers into her mask, voice trembling slightly. Not today. She banks sharply toward the channel, finally safe to accelerate. The pink Spitfire glides back toward the coast just as the camouflage begins to weaken with the rising sun. By the time she crosses into friendly airspace, her cameras are full. Her fuel is low. Her nerves are steadying. And the Allies have just gained photographic proof of new fortifications along the Norman beaches. Proof that will be analyzed, mapped, and eventually used to plan the largest seaborne invasion in history. Back at base, technicians swarm her aircraft. The film rolls, cold, precious, irreplaceable, are rushed into the intelligence lab. Within hours, their images will reach the desks of strategists in London. As Greaves climbs out of the cockpit, wiping frost from her visor, Wing Commander Moresby approaches with urgent footsteps. "Did you get them?" he asks. Greaves nods. "I got everything." Moresby exhales, a deep, relieved breath. "The pink paint stays," he mutters.
But the most dangerous missions are still ahead, and not every pilot will return.
June 1943. RAF Benson, home of the Photographic Reconnaissance Unit. The morning mist clings stubbornly to the grass as a single pink-painted Spitfire rumbles to a halt on the far end of the runway. Ground crews jog toward it, ready for another routine recovery. But they stop. The cockpit is empty. The canopy shattered. The landing gear bent inward from a brutal last-second impact. The pilot, Flight Officer James Harland, age 22, never made it back. Word spreads through the base like a cold wind. The pink Spitfires may have been invisible to enemy eyes at dawn, but they were not invulnerable. A lucky radar sweep, a stray patrol, a burst of flak reaching an altitude it shouldn't have. Somewhere over northern Belgium, Harland's aircraft had been hit. The damage had been catastrophic, but the young pilot somehow managed to keep the crippled Spitfire aloft long enough to reach the channel. Too low to bail out, too damaged to radio, too late to save himself. His aircraft skidded across the runway alone, its pilot lost to the sea. Inside the operations room, the mood is grim. A dim yellow lamp flickers over a map crowded with pins, flight paths, and hurried annotations. Squadron leader Amelia Greaves stands beside the table, helmet still tucked under her arm. She stares at the empty space where Harland's name used to be. Wing Commander Moresby enters silently, carrying a folded piece of paper. He avoids meeting her eyes. Greaves, we recovered the aircraft. We didn't recover James. Greaves nods, swallowing hard. She pulls off her gloves, placing them neatly on the table. Small, precise motions masking the tremor in her hands. He radioed? She asks. Moresby shakes his head. Nothing. No distress call, no signal. He just kept flying the plane. For reconnaissance pilots, this is the unspoken truth. They do not die in explosions or dogfights. They die in silence, camera shutters still loaded with the final frames they will ever shoot. Greaves looks at the map, at Belgium, at the point where Harland's plane vanished from radar. Was he flying pink? Yes. First light mission. Moresby hesitates. Pink helps. It doesn't save everyone. Greaves nods again, more firmly this time. That's why we keep flying. Hours later, flight briefing room. The air inside is thick with tension. Pilots sit quietly at the long wooden table, flight suits half-zipped, helmets resting beside folded arms. A record player hums faintly somewhere, its needle stuck in the groove. Moresby steps forward. I won't lie to you, he begins. Harland's loss is a blow, but the Germans are reinforcing their coastal defenses at an alarming rate. Every day we fail to photograph them is another day Hitler strengthens his wall. He gestures to a series of stark, grainy images pinned on the board behind him. Massive concrete structures rising along the coastline. Whispers ripple across the room. And intelligence wants more, Moresby continues. We need full photographic coverage of the entire Normandy sector.
Greaves closes her eyes quietly. She knows what that means. More dawn flights, more pink Spitfires, more pilots suspended between life and death. Moresby scans the room. Volunteers only. A moment of stillness. Then, hands rise, one after another, calm, resolute, unshaken. These are not thrill seekers. They are not killers. They are silent warriors armed with cameras instead of guns. Greaves raises her hand last. Moresby nods slowly. Good. The pink flights continue.
The next morning, 04:21 hours, pre-dawn darkness. A single hangar light flickers on as ground crews wheel out two pink-painted Spitfires, their pastel surfaces ghostly under the cold glare. Greaves climbs into her cockpit, tightening her harness. Her breath fogs the glass. The world outside is quiet. Too quiet. Across from her, Flight Lieutenant Peter Falcon Lockhart flashes a thumbs up. It's forced, but steady. He lost a friend yesterday too. They have no weapons, no escort, no room for error. But they have a mission. As the engines roar to life, the tired night watchman at the tower steps outside, staring in awe at the pink silhouettes preparing to take flight. "Strangest damned birds in the war," he mutters. The runway lights blink on. Greaves pushes her throttle forward. The pink Spitfires surge into the darkness, straight toward the razor-thin line where night meets dawn. Toward a sky that will hide them or betray them. June 14th, 1943. 04:39 hours. Somewhere over the English Channel. The horizon ahead is beginning to glow, just a faint smear of rose against the black canvas of night. The precise moment the RAF's camouflage scientists had calculated. The moment when the world, for a few fragile minutes, is neither dark nor light, but something in between. The moment pink becomes invisible. Greaves levels her Spitfire at 27,000 feet. Beside her, Lockhart holds his formation, impeccable, silent, wings glinting faintly in the pre-dawn haze. Beneath them, the sea is a black void, completely still. Greaves checks her instruments. Fuel good. Oxygen flow steady. Cameras armed. She flicks her radio switch twice, her silent signal to Lockhart. Split. Lockhart breaks formation smoothly, banking right toward the Carentan sector, while Greaves angles left toward the cliffs of Omaha Beach. Their mission? Capture overlapping photographic sweeps of two critical sectors German engineers had been reinforcing relentlessly for weeks. The Allies still don't know why. Not fully, not clearly enough. But today's flight may change that. As Greaves approaches the coast, the sky transforms. The pink haze thickens, glowing softly around her aircraft. Her wings nearly vanish in the same light that radiates from the horizon. The paint works better than she could have hoped, almost unnervingly well. Down below, the German defenses are already alive. Searchlights sweep lazily across the beaches, not yet hunting, just warming up for the day. A flat crew rolls out of their barracks, yawning, lighting cigarettes. No one looks straight up. Greaves begins her photographic run. Thump, thump, thump. The F-52 cameras fire. Then again, and again. Each shutter click captures a new horror blooming along the coastline. Fresh bunkers, new trenches,
extended firing ports, camouflage gun nests buried into the cliffs. Then something else, something she hasn't seen before. A massive concrete structure carved directly into the rock face. It looks like a bunker, but its dimensions are wrong. Too big, too reinforced, too deeply hidden. Greaves narrows her eyes. What are you? She angles her aircraft slightly, firing another burst of shots. Below, a German soldier glances up reflexively. He freezes. Is that? No, impossible. His eyes adjust to the shifting light. He sees nothing.
Meanwhile, Lockhart is not so lucky. Approaching Carentan, his route crosses too close to a Luftwaffe airfield. A radar operator notices a faint return, weak, flickering, but present. Within minutes, two Bf-109 G6 fighters scream into the dawn sky. Lockhart hears the distant hum through his fuselage before his instruments pick them up. He remains calm, breath steady, hands firm. He still has the pink advantage. He still has dawn. But the sun is rising faster than he expected, the horizon brightening, the pink camouflage losing strength. He dives slightly, just enough to re-enter the soft band of the atmosphere where the light still works. His Spitfire shimmers, almost blending with the horizon again. The German pilots sweep past him at 500 feet distance, never seeing him, never knowing he was there. Lockhart smirks beneath his mask. Too close. He resumes his sweep, photographing the Carentan marshes. If the Germans intend to flood the area, as Allied intelligence suspects, this reconnaissance will prove it. But as he banks left to capture the southern sector, a sudden glint flashes across his canopy. He frowns, looks right. Not sunlight, not a cloud. Something metallic. A third Bf-109. It must have been climbing from a patrol route below him, unnoticed, rising through the last band of dawn light, just enough to catch the silhouette of Lockhart's aircraft. Lockhart's breath freezes. He's been seen. Back over Omaha Beach, Greaves completes her final sweep. Her cameras are full. Her altitude is perfect for escape. The rising sun has turned the sky bright gold. Pink camouflage, no longer useful. She banks toward the channel, smooth, controlled, confident. Then a voice crackles over her radio, breathless, strained. Greaves, Falcon here. I've been spotted. Break. One bandit on me. I repeat, one bandit locked on. Greaves' stomach drops. She knows that tone. She has heard it before. It is the sound pilots make just before the sky closes in around them. She pulls her throttle forward, against orders, against reason, turning back toward Carentan. Not leaving him. Not today.
As the Spitfire drifted deeper into enemy airspace, Benson leaned forward, eyes fixed on the horizon. Below him, German convoys snaked through the countryside, gray columns of trucks, tanks, and artillery, moving steadily toward the front. From this height, they looked small, almost harmless, but Benson knew every photograph he captured today could change the course of a battle tomorrow. He triggered the camera once more. Click, click, click. The sound was soft, almost gentle, but each frame was a bullet of truth, undeniable evidence of enemy movement. Moments later, clouds began to gather again, thick, heavy, a shifting wall of vapor. Perfect cover. Benson angled the aircraft upward, sliding into the mist like a ghost. Just seconds later, two German fighters burst into the open sky behind him, scanning frantically. They had seen something, maybe just a flicker. But now the bright pink Spitfire was gone, consumed by the clouds it was made to live within. Inside the cockpit, Benson didn't dare breathe loudly. The German pilots circled, confused. One tilted his aircraft, searching the cloud edges. Nothing. The sky was empty. The pink camouflage had done its job. Benson allowed himself a thin smile. He kept the engine low, barely above idle, letting the aircraft float like a feather. He knew the Germans expected noise, movement, contrast, anything that would break the sky's natural palette. But a pastel pink plane, hiding in the glowing haze of sunrise? Impossible. Minutes crawled by. Eventually, the German fighters gave up and peeled away. Benson finally exhaled. He dipped the nose of the Spitfire and set course for home. The sky shifted from orange to gold, then to regular daylight. But the job was already done. By the time daylight revealed the plane's unusual color, the RAF reconnaissance pilots were usually miles away, safe, coasting over friendly waters. Hours later, back at the base, technicians pulled the film canisters from the aircraft. The images revealed German armor divisions massing near key supply routes, information that would prove critical in planning Allied countermoves. As engineers cleaned the Spitfire, the pink paint glistened faintly under the hangar lights. It looked strange, out of place, almost playful. But everyone on that base knew the truth. It was one of the deadliest colors in the war. The soft, innocent shade had helped reveal enemy secrets, saved pilots' lives, and shaped Allied strategy, all while remaining invisible in plain sight. And so, for a brief moment in history, over the burning skies of World War II,